today I want to do something a little bit different, and I want to make a tribute to a great unknown funk soul band from the 70s by the name of the Skull Snaps. Now, most people have never heard the name Skull Snaps, but you have heard music from the Skull Snaps before because they have a song called It's a New Day that's one of the most sampled songs in hip hop. But let me give you a quick little background on the Skull Snaps. The Skull Snaps were a band in the 70s. They were called the Diplomats. They changed the name to the Skull Snaps. And it was three guys, played all their own instruments. They all sang lead, really talented guys. But at the time, the label didn't really know how to market the guys. So instead of putting their faces on the front of the album, they made the curious choice to put three skulls with some dancing skeletons in the background, which if you look at it, it looks like a metal album, hard rock, or just something else. It definitely does not look like a funk soul trio with, live instruments and beautiful horns and everything else. But anyway, the album comes out. People don't know who they are, even though they're respected musicians. So it goes completely overlooked, despite the fact that the musicianship is amazing. So the album comes and goes. It's self-titled. It's called Skull Snaps. And it was virtually forgotten about until almost 20 years later when hip hop comes along and an artist by the name of Steezo, who actually used to be a backup dancer for EPMD, heard the sample for It's a New Day. He heard the drum sample for that on a song that his cousin made. He put it on his single, a song called It's My Turn, and it turned into a minor hit at the time. But this is the part that made Skull Snaps legends. What Steezo chose to do at the beginning of his song was leave the sample naked, meaning that he didn't talk over it or put anything additional over it as far as other instruments. He just left the drums, which, if you know hip hop, is a no-no, because if you do that, people can steal it from you. So Steezo put the drums for It's a New Day at the beginning of his song completely naked, and all these other producers and rappers heard that, and it turned into one of the most popular samples ever. So everybody was taking the sample from his song, still not knowing who the Skull Snaps were. So now the Skull Snaps are on hit songs. They're being sampled. They're being played at live shows by DJs, and nobody still even knows who the original song came from. So I got introduced to the Skull Snaps through my cousin. He burned me a CD. He was like, hey, you might recognize some of the drum breaks on here. Soon as I heard It's a New Day, I thought Gang Starr, Take It Personal. I think also Pharcyde, Passing Me By sampled it. Mobb Deep, Give Up the Goods. I mean, it's been sampled by damn near everybody. But when I heard the whole album together, I was blown away. I was like, how does no one know anything about this album? This is a great funk soul album. I mean, there's only 9 songs on it, but every time I play it from front to back. I mean, I love them all. I mean, Having You Around, All of a Sudden, I Turn My Back on Love, and Trespassing has one of the best horn breaks ever. If you listen to that joint, listen to the horn breaks on it. Love it. And Falling Out of Love, I just love the whole album. And also, too, just a random story. At the time when I got the album, I actually was trying to write my first comedy script. And even though the script has nothing to do, with the music or necessarily the themes of this album, a lot of times I use music to get out of a writer's block. So for whatever reason, there's a ballad on the album called Having You Around, and there's mandolins playing in the background of that song. And I don't know, the mandolins just kind of sparked something in my brain. It just kind of sparked creativity. So I remember laying on the floor in my house and playing Having You Around just over and over and over. And after I got through playing it on repeat for like a whole evening, I got up and I wrote that entire comedy script in probably like a week and a half. The fastest I've ever written a script to this day. To this day. But yeah, so that was just like a personal story from the Skull Snap. So, this is 30 or 40 years after the fact. They're still inspiring artists. And it was a beautiful feeling because, I mean, the first thought I had was, damn, I wish those brothers got their props. I hate that this beautiful, dope music was overlooked. And and they didn't get their just desserts. I really I hated that. But then at the same time, I felt good in the sense that I'm sitting here again in the 2000s discovering this music, being moved by it, and also being moved to share it with other people. So these brothers made something that's going to survive them and live long past them. Now, with that being said, you do want to give your flowers to the living. That's why I'm doing this podcast right now. And as of today, their song "It's a New Day" is one of the most sampled songs in hip hop. It's been sampled almost 500 times. Almost 500 times. And I'm not sure, actually, I'm pretty sure that they have not been compensated for all of the times that that song has been used. I remember hearing one of their songs. I think it was either Trespassing or I'm Your Pimp that was in Smoking Aces. There's an episode of Fresh Prince where Jazzy Jeff is cutting up the break for "It's a New Day." So the song has been everywhere. Another group, Tame Impala, I don't listen to their music, but they jacked the drums from "It's a New Day" and acted like they didn't, but F them. But yeah, I mean the brothers are still alive. From what I know, they're still out playing music, and I think there's even discussions on them making some new music. So, going into Memorial Day weekend, if you want to jam with the family, throw on some really cool funk soul, I suggest you log on to your streaming service, get on your Tidal or whatever you have, and download and stream the Skull Snaps self-titled eponymous debut, Skull Snaps. You will not be disappointed. It's got a little bit of everything. It's got ballads. It's got some up-tempo, really funky jamming songs. It's got love songs. It's got some heartbreak songs. It's got a song about being a pimp. So, I mean, thematically, those things don't go together. But what does go together is the music. The music is amazing. All three brothers sing lead. And I just use them as kind of just a reminder of how many people have put in work and made great art and didn't necessarily receive their appreciation for it, because it's a very humbling thing. Because I think artists a lot of times worry about being overlooked or worry about how their music is going to be received. But I think the first thing we have to concern ourselves with is always striving to be great, to be as great as we possibly can be, and to make something that will endure and will outlast us. And then believe that in time, the people who need to hear it will find it. And that there will be some people, it doesn't matter how many necessarily, but there will be people who discover it, appreciate it, and then are inspired by it. And by being inspired by what you've created, they're able to allow you to reach a little bit further, past yourself into another generation. And that's a beautiful thing. That's the beauty of art. I hope that's one of the main reasons why we create art. And I want to give a big shout out to Skull Snaps for being a big inspiration to me. Brother Sam Cully, Irv Littleton Waters, and George Bragg. I mean, from what I know, they're still alive. So again, go out there, stream the music. If you see a copy, pick it up. And more importantly, if you see those brothers coming to your town, go buy a ticket and go see the show, because we know that money will definitely go to them. But once again, big shout out to the Skull Snaps. I'm about to get my Memorial Day weekend started, and hopefully you guys will do like me and stream some Skull Snaps and get the cookout bumping with some great funk soul music. And right now, I think it's only right that I end this with a clip from one of my favorite horn breaks on the album in the song Trespassing. So.
Trespassing on somebody else's property.